He'll also regularly here on First Things First, and Baba Keeley has a long history of activism and organizing. And I want to get his reaction to, whew, man, this bombshell is what the word that they're using when describing, I guess now falling from grace and disgraced civil rights leader Cesar Chavez. I want to get Baba Keeley's reactions. He organized and worked with both him and Dolores Huerta. Baba Keeley will join us in hour 3. And as always, on a Freedman Friday, we're going to reprise an episode from Dominique. So I'm looking forward to catching that episode in our 8 o'clock hour. But right now, I have joining me, he is a contributor to Fox Soul. He also is a regular contributor right here on KBLA Talk 1580. He contributes with Dominique right here. He's president of ES Advisors Group, a public affairs consulting agency. He's also probably one of the smartest brothers I look forward to talking to. I always get the pleasure of having him on. It just like the schedule lines up that way. I have Ed Sanders joining us. Brother Ed, good morning. How are you?
Man, good brother James. How are you this morning?
No, I'd like to say I'm cool, but right now I'm hot because I'm hot for several. Not because I'm on air, you know.
No, summertime is hitting the middle of spring.
It was 70 degrees when I walked out of my door this morning at about 3:30 this morning. Right? It's smoking, man. How's the family doing?
Everyone's doing well. You know, everyone is plugging away. Wife is doing well, and kids growing up strong. So I'm a happy dad right now. Happy husband and dad.
Well, you know, if hopefully you're happier than I am, because my son has asked for World Cup tickets, brother, and I'm trying to figure out how many cans do I have to collect.
Yeah, there's definitely that. We're up working right now because we got kids. That's the gist of it. You know, it's not cheap trying to get children what they want.
Right. Well, your girls play soccer and stuff. So are you whipping out the 3-digit authorization code, man, and copping up those? What is about the lowest I saw in the nosebleeds were about $1,200 per ticket.
Yeah, I would do my best. I'm also quite content to watch it on television with it. But yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah, nah, man. So I don't know if that's a whole lot. I wanted to talk with you this morning, Ed. Couple of things. We obviously I want to get your reaction to the latest information that we're hearing about Cesar Chavez being accused of rape. And Dolores Huerta and those 3 other women that came forward in that extensive New York Times investigative journalism piece. But and then also we'll, a little bit later on maybe we'll get to some of this California stuff, governor stuff. I really am curious to pick your brain. But when I read the New York, first of all, I'm still angry. I still feel the emotion of when I read the New York Times article, and as a father, it just ate at me, the grooming. And I don't think we should blame anyone, but sometimes what I read was some of the parents put the children kind of in that space for that grooming. As a dad, man, what's your reaction to, man, these allegations? I mean, I don't know. Can we say yet that it's true? I mean, it's true because the women say it's true, so I don't disbelieve any of them. But I'm just still in that space of just trying to allegation. What's your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, probably processing still, just like you. I think, but to your point, the reaction that I see the folks that I know in the orbit, I haven't seen much pushback on the veracity of the charges. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just shocking in what it is. I guess the first part of it is, when you've got someone that has been so revered, over the past 30 years, 40 years here, it's shocking to hear a story like that. We've seen, I don't want to compare it. It's not comparable, but, leaders are fallible. They're humans, right? And so I think there's always just the shock of seeing someone that stood for something that you believed in, a movement leader, someone that was standing for good, and then you see sort of you understand that in their human existence that there's also this, right?
I mean, but isn't it, I'm gonna pin it there, Ed, and we're gonna pick this up because there is that in all of us, right? Like, I mean, none of us are perfect, right? None of us are infallible. Some of us may do, I guess, Bible teaches us no sin is greater than the other, but some things, I just struggle with the predatory behavior, right? And just it bothers me to my core, having a daughter, being the son of a mother, having a sister, having a wife, having niece, aunties, cousins. It just gives me. So when we come forward, Ed, I want to continue. I want to hear more about your reactions. I mean, obviously there's fallout, at this point across the country. Folks are in elected officials, Mayor Karen Bass, Governor Gavin Newsom. All of them have taken decisive actions on, I don't know if they're correcting the record or kind of righting a wrong, but I want to get your reaction to this stripping of Cesar Chavez's name and likeness across municipalities and buildings and schools and all of this sort across certainly Southern California and now the nation. Stay with us. First things first, I'm James Farr in for Dominique DePrima. You got me and Ed Sanders. When we come forward, only on KBLA Talk 1580, we got your black.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day. All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable. All month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we your girls. Won't you know that we love you?
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya, guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Where you eating at? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
That's right. You're getting back not to Dominique DePrima. You're getting back to James Farr. I am sitting in for the Queen, Dominique DePrima, on this Freedman Friday, and I got Ed Sanders on the line with us. And just a quick reminder, the phone lines are open. You want to talk to me and Ed, 800-920-1580. That's 800-920. The chat is active. Good morning, Miss Molly Bell. Good morning, Jacqueline. Thank y'all for checking in with us this morning. So, Ed, before we had to move it forward, you know, I think we were kind of trying to both of you and I are still processing this news, you know, being fathers, and we're talking, of course, about Cesar Chavez, now disgraced. You know, we're learning that our leaders are flawed, but you know, I think I was juggling this, you know, because I hear some people saying, you know, hate the sin, love the sinner. I mean, this one, I don't know how to square this one, man. And we'll get to some of this stripping of his name off of. But has that landed better with you now?
No. I think. Look, I think when you look at it, you know, the issue still remains, right? We've seen a leader that has been disgraced. I was caught there thinking about some of the things that I do as a father, just to put it in sort of my own familial context. I am the father of a teenage son and then a teenage daughter, and I noticed that I try to remain. My son is tall, so I have a little more confidence with him. But I try to stay active and as present as I can with my daughter at activities. And in the back of my mind, I'm being present because I want to avoid predators in her orbit, right? I want to discourage that. You know, your question before the break was really like, how do you feel about the nature of young people even participating in a movement? And I would say this: I mean, I am politically active, and I encourage young people to get active early. And you know, that's the other side of this. Is I don't want to see people react in such a way that you're pulling back experience or opportunities for your youngsters, because that part of developing a young person into an adult, either through political process or some sort of business internship, you know, something along those lines, is an important way in which, you know, we grow as adults. This strikes at that, right? And I hope there's not a negative reaction to how we allow young people participate with us.
No, I don't see that this influencing. Well, of course, my daughter's in college now, but I never stopped being a dad, and it just reminds me of a time we were somewhere in community and a creep, right? This dude, I had heard inappropriate remarks in other type spaces. I just don't speak about women personally in that way, right? That's just not who I am, what I'm about. But one day he made a remark that my daughter looked like a woman, right? She was 13. I can't say what I wanted to say, but that
You're about to rip his head off.
man. And so, I mean, obviously we're vigilant, right? And it rang everything of creep and stuff, but it's tough. Is it the reactions that are coming in? Mayor Karen Bass yesterday signed a proclamation. Governor Newsom, announced, the changing of Cesar Chavez Day to Farm Workers Day. Is you mentioned earlier that these things have kind of happened swiftly and decisively. Is this the appropriate track, or how are you reading this?
I think it's the appropriate track. I think the swiftness creates a counter to what you've seen in the past. Mm-hmm. This is not the first story like this. Let's take the entertainment industry, Harvey Weinstein. I think we had seen evidence, or people were speaking out at award shows and that sort of thing, and he was still a very prevalent figure in the entertainment industry, despite the sexual behaviors that he was accused of. I think the swiftness, people are saying, well, look, it can actually be done, right? You opened it with the first piece, which is, is it true? The swiftness of it, I do worry about, and I let me pull it out of this situation and just say, in future situations, it really does need to be clear. In this case, I'm not doubting any of the storyline, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not questioning that. I do worry about the swiftness. We are in a 24-hour news cycle, and things flip. But in this case, I'm actually very supportive of the idea that you do not stand for this behavior, and once you know that, there's really no question about it. And you can see the leadership that's doing it, making the change. The other side of that is that no man is more important than the movement.
Right.
And the movement and what Cesar Chavez, his legacy is meant to California politics, to the nation's politics, is unchallenged. You can't unwrite that. And while his name and his behavior may be disgraceful, it's important to not have what he built or what he was part of building, let me put it in that way, be disgraced by this as well.
Let's check in with John calling. Kwamel, I see you on the line as well. We'll get to you in just a second. Let's check in with John calling us from San Francisco. You got a question, comment for Ed Sanders, James Farr? John?
Well, a couple. One on the topic you were just discussing. I think this is an appropriate way to respond, but it's in contrast to what happened, I guess, a couple weeks ago when something similar became known about the president, and he started a war to divert attention.
I don't even want to do that with you, John. Real talk. I mean, we're talking about rape here, and I'm not buying into, not in this moment, right? Not right now. Yes, Trump is a clown and distractor, right? But I don't want to conflate rape in this context, in this moment, with that. What next have you?
Oh, sure. Well, the good part is that I really think we should applaud what you're doing with the state of black women. We're doing a program tomorrow in San Francisco, Queen Calafia Centennial Tour for the 100th anniversary of the Maynard Dixon and Frank Von Sloan murals of Queen Calafia. About 35 years ago, I did the book on the history of African Americans in California and found out the state was named for a black woman. I was able to basically show people that there's a mural.
Absolutely. So what, is there a question for Ed Sanders, or you're just making a comment?
Well, yeah, like I said, I thought there should be a consistent approach to these, and I think it's important to apply it for everybody.
That we don't disagree. At least I don't disagree. What say you, Ed? We got a couple of minutes before we move it forward.
Yeah, I mean, in sort of the generic, I do think different scenarios have different reaches. I think on the issue of being a predator towards children, that's sort of a 10 out of 10. But I think there can be impact that has to be measured. But yeah, we do have to find some way to and we do. I mean, the bottom line is we do have a standardized reaction to this. So I agree with him in that regard.
John called 800-920-1580. You, too, can call 800-920-1580 and get in the queue. Hey, Kwamel, I'm going to bring you in real quick, but be real short, and I'll keep you over on the other side. But you got something real quick for us, and we'll carry it over?
Peace, brothers. I think a lot about the culture, how we've had, the reverence for movement, including, with folks like, Cosby. And I guess you kind of would say like that he had also created a movement of sorts with a lot of things he had set off, and then to find out, what had possibly what would have been going on with him. And you almost wonder, like, okay, these are folks of color. These are not, white men with the complexion for the protection. Like, how were they even allowed to have careers, with all that have been going on? Like, why? Like,
do this. Hold that thought, Kwamel. Can you stay with us? I'll get to you when we move it forward. News, traffic, sports is up next. Stay with us, all right, Kwamel? Ed Sanders, James Farr, filling in for Dominique DePrima. First things first. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got you black.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. California and 23 other states are suing the EPA for rolling back a key finding that greenhouse gases endanger public health. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
This isn't a small technical change. It's a sweeping decision that would increase pollution, worsen climate change, and put the health of millions of Americans at risk.
He says the move ignores scientific consensus and could weaken limits on emissions from cars and power plants. The Pentagon may keep National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. through 2029. ABC News reports the plan is finalized and awaiting approval from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. D.C. leaders are suing to end the deployment. A New Edition is now leading the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame fan vote, bumping Phil Collins from the top spot. The Hall will announce this year's class of inductees in April. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Hard Rock Casino Tejon for the $500,000 Luck of the Irish BMW drawing. Drawings every Thursday in March. Hard Rock Casino Tejon, the closest casino to downtown LA. The excitement starts here at the new Hard Rock Casino Tejon.
Is this the
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers win again, and Luka Doncic goes off again. Thursday night in Miami, the Lakers won their season-high 8 straight games. They beat Miami 134-126. 60 points for Doncic. He also had 5 steals. In the Lakers' last 2 games, Doncic has scored 100 points. LeBron had a triple-double with 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. In LeBron's last 2 games, he is shooting 80.7% from the floor. The Lakers are 11-1 in their last 12. Things are not going well for the Clippers. They lost to New Orleans Thursday night, 105-99. 4 straight loss for the Clippers. Congratulations to the Southern University women's basketball team. The HBCU team beat Sanford Thursday 65-53 in the play-in round of the NCAA tournament. Southern advances to the field of 64. Their first round game is Saturday against number 1 seed South Carolina. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, KBLA Talk 1580 host and African Focus Incorporated Cultural Ambassador. You probably know by now that every year our 2 organizations team up to lead a trip to the motherland. This June will be our 8th African Focus Trailblazers Tour, and it's not too late to join us. But if you've been thinking of going with us, now is the time to sign on before prices go up. Our current deadline is March 20th. Join us as we travel to a country widely considered one of Africa's most underrated destinations, Zambia, home to the towering Victoria Falls and the bustling capital city, Lusaka. Enjoy a visit to Botswana, known for its pristine natural beauty and stunning southern African wildlife. We travel in comfort with luxury accommodations, a variety of fun activities, and delicious dining. We do service with charitable work at a school and an orphanage, and we expand our horizons with cultural and historical excursions. To sign up now before our March 20th deadline, please call African Focus Incorporated at 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300. Or check out africanfocus.org. Whether it's in the community or traveling the globe, we move as family. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Let's go.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So, who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So, what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utility's failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits. And your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
That's right. Yeah, well, not exactly. You're not waking up with Dominique DePrima. I'm James Farr. I'm sitting in for the Queen, Dominique DePrima. I got Ed Sanders on the line, and well, we're just reacting right now as two black men, two fathers, to this Cesar Chavez rape, being called a rapist, being, and the fact that his family has weighed in and is not refuting it, and we're hearing more and more as more folks are, talking about what they may or may not have known, going back 60 years or so. Ed, we have Kwamel still on the line. Kwamel, I'm going to let you land. I know you didn't quite get to your point, but I'm going to go ahead and let you land, and then Ed and I'll pick it up.
I mean, it's just very difficult to think about, dating back to Me Too, the idea of this being a full culture. And it's not that, and it not being that men are born monsters, but it being a massive culture that allowed so many among us to be this, and it not be nipped in the bud. And I wonder how many folks struggle with that. And just try to find the better way forward. But yeah, I mean, it's like I once heard said on a TV show. Like it just seems like too much has been said and done, and how how do we get right? You know what I mean?
Right.
I think I'll leave it there. I think I've rambled enough. But thank you, brothers, for your time.
Oh, good. Thanks for the call, Kwamel. Kwamel called 800-920-1580. You can call 800-920-1580 and speak with Ed Sanders, James Farr, sitting in for Dominique DePrima this morning. I mean, Ed, it's not lost on me that this is Women's History Month. And John kind of alluded, and I didn't want to go there, but it's not lost on me. This is Women's History Month, and does the timing seem odd to you, or what's your read on that we find this information out this week, 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks ahead of Cesar Chavez Day?
Well, I think the irony is that Cesar Chavez Day falls in towards the tail end of Women's History Month, right? And that's the irony there. But it allows for reflection on sort of both angles. Again, this is a figure that changed the political landscape. The right for Latino workers or the issue of raising up Latino workers and their addition to the labor movement is a significant moment in California history, and it changed the labor movement and thus changed democratic politics on the West Coast, and certainly that's had reach across the country. And even now, there's so many figures that, and you're quoting them out and you're seeing everyone speaking out, but there are so many people in political life and social justice life, community-based organizations that can draw a line to what Cesar and Dolores and others built in the farm worker movement. I'm anxious to hear, like you are, the next guest, and Baba Akili, who I've known, and you and I know that he's been an organizer with several movements. But his reflection, in the next hour is going to be really interesting to hear, because of the direct connections. And so this isn't some conversation about someone that was 200 years ago. This is rather relevant. I know he's been dead for several years, but there are still firsthand people that came up in the movement and are still making impacts today.
Is the work, and it I'm still conflicted speaking about him as a person, right? And the accomplishments and the organizing, the figurehead that he was, the forward face of that movement. But does this jeopardize, at least in narrative? I don't know that it erases in historical context, but does this jeopardize in narrative the legacy of the collective work that the United Farm Workers accomplished?
No, and the question that we had earlier about the swiftness, and this is where I do think the swiftness is appropriate, because you are protecting. I don't want to call it a brand. It's not that it's a brand, but for lack of a better word, you are protecting the movement by acknowledging, okay, the figurehead was flawed and deeply flawed. But the work and the movement is important. So yeah, you got to change it and make it the Farm Workers Day. You've got to pull his name down. The swiftness of that speaks to continuing the movement.
Flawed may be infidelity. Flawed may be eating too much, right? Flawed may be perhaps having a substance abuse problem. I don't know. I'm not judging, but rape, right. I don't know if that's flawed, right? That's a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah, that's deeper. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and try to come up with a better adjective at 6:43. But if you by about 8:30, my vocabulary will expand wide enough to capture the right word. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's by no stretch we're not making light of the seriousness of the moment, but it is just that serious. And something else I'm having a problem with is I'm scrolling through social media, and this and I kind of touched on it earlier. Hate the sinner. Hate the sin, but not the sinner, right? Folks, and I don't want to say any names specifically, right? Because it irritated me for folks to kind of conjure up and conflate perhaps some of our other more storied luminary black civil rights leaders who may have had, had some character issues, right? Perhaps I think I'll frame it that way, right? But I don't like that people are comparing rape to infidelity. Am I wrong for that? Am I picking sins? Is that what about ism?
Slightly, but there is in some sense, yes, right, and I think there are, sort of a series of character flaws that you could go around the world and talk to individual people. I hope that people that rape or groom young people, to sexual activity, I think most people hold that, to be despicable. And there's my adjective that has come to me.
There you go. I see. That's why I like talking to you, Ed.
Let's take the comparison and let's map this now over to Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Okay.
And that same despicable behavior is on full display, and it seems to be far more expansive with far more accomplices involved, and those accomplices are actually in public life, in leadership roles, running businesses. making decisions that impact your life. This issue is actually really easy to deal with, and with Cesar Chavez, he has passed away. This has come to light. We'll make changes. Mm-hmm. This Jeffrey Epstein thing, we are still rooting out the evildoers. And that's if I want to compare it and I want to look at where more action really needs to happen, like I'm not going to look over at other leaders right now that have passed and, whatever on that. And it's comparing rape to other infidelity or other things. Fine. If those stories come out and you want to do that, that's great. We've got right now real life people that have been rumored to be and are in these emails that have had experiences with young girls and seem to have been, paying for it, part of some cabal, whatever, depending on who you listen to about it. But that seems to me really serious and needs to be dealt with. And so I look at the reactions again, very swift, right? Getting to Cesar Chavez, we're going to rename it, we're going to do that. There seems to be a very real delay in getting to the truth on the other issue, and that bothers me.
Yeah, well, we clearly see why that issue isn't transparent, and we have a liar in chief who lies just consistent. You agree, disagree? Swinging back to the the name removals, we have Cesar Chavez Street here in Los Angeles. The renaming of the Cesar Chavez Day. You think it should have been Dolores Huerta?
No, I admire Dolores and have worked on a number of projects with her. I think it's right to lift up the beneficiaries of the movement as opposed to putting another name on it. Right, and I view it in that way.
I don't know about that, Ed. I mean, and not so much for symbolism, right, or an icon. That's not where I'm going with it. I'm not saying swap her out or put her in, but I don't know. I mean, I heard Dominique talking about this. I am concerned about Farmer John showing up in his flannel and overalls, and he don't look nothing like a migrant worker, farm worker, or any of my ancestors showing up. Check this out, Ed. When we come forward, I wanted to pick your brain about the upcoming governor's race here. We'll do that in the final time that we have with us this morning, man. As always, I appreciate you are one of the brightest minds, and this is such a joy and a treat to be able to be in conversation with you. James Farr, I'm sitting in for Dominique DePrima. Ed Sanders is with us, only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got you, Black.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Los Angeles, our homes are more than property, they're legacy. Right now, one of the largest wealth transfers in history is happening through real estate, and too many homeowners in our community are losing hard-earned equity. Donald L. Bishop Jr., associate broker with Coldwell Banker Realty, is committed to protecting families' equity through integrity and transparency. With over 20 years of real estate experience, he represents sellers, buyers, and especially seniors. Call 323-401-4126. Live well with Donald L. Bishop Jr., Cal BRE number 019-770-35. Heading out of town this spring? Metro makes getting to LAX easier than ever. Just take the C or K train lines to the new LAX Metro Transit Center. Then catch a free shuttle straight to your terminal. Easy, affordable, stress-free. Travel smart. Go Metro.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
That's right. We're not blacking down. Ed Sanders isn't blacking down. KBLA isn't blacking down. I'm James Farr. I'm sitting in for the Queen, Dominique DePrima, and Ed Sanders is joining me, and he's kind of talked me off the ledge as I was heated, Ed. I was hotter than this summer, this early spring summer we're having right now. I don't know if it was just the heat affecting me or what I was reading, but Ed, I wanted to talk to you about the California governor's race, right? And I'm gonna try to squeeze a whole show into about 6 minutes. Obviously, that's not enough time, but California potentially, and folks were flirting with this, in the last election cycle, could possibly go red. And we may be looking at, because of such a crowded field right now, 8 Democrats who some of them polling better than others, and 2 Republicans. California is in the primary, the top 2 advance to the general election in November. What's at stake right now? You want to pick a candidate for us? I can't decide. I don't know. Help me out, brother.
It's been an interesting cycle. Dominique and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and I sort of poo-pooed the idea that the top 2 could be Republicans. I still don't think both will be in the top 2.
Wow.
I simply don't think people are. I just don't think people are paying attention to this yet. And obviously you got a crowd of very lackluster candidates, to be honest, and that is why people aren't paying attention. It's not candidate driven for sure, and ultimately people are going to settle in on this race and the issue that I think is on most people's minds right now may be the thing that influences this. I look at nationally, what do we have going on? There's unease around the economy, right? Everyone listening right now is thinking about, what does the end of this year look like? Inflation, cost of eggs, that sort of thing. Is there going to be work? The disruption really right now is the this military campaign in Iran. And if we have yet another forever war going on, the impacts to state government by the treasure that we have to spend on that get impacted. And we've seen this the last 20 years, where the delivery of the schools, the healthcare, we're battling with that. And none of the candidates have connected the dots there. And I think once people realize that, because I think most of this country is really upset about this idea that we're going into another forever war, and our infrastructure at home is crumbling, and I think the candidate that captures that actually moves to the front of the line. And we'll see.
One thing that one of many things, but I'll share this one out loud, that DQs a candidate for me is when I hear them overexpress that they're going to build affordable housing. And then when you ask them, well, how? right? Like, how do you build in California where it's, or perhaps that analogy, I get you. You plant a tree today, you get shade in 10 or 15 years. They promise these things. Affordability becomes a thing. But when they say that, it turns me completely off and makes it hard for me to believe anything else that they're saying to be true. How do you separate that for you're a consultant, you've worked with campaigns. What should the voter, the listener, how do you filter through, that don't pass my pawpaw test, right? Something don't smell right.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to and I always, James, you and I, when we talk about this, I restate it for everyone. Like, I think I look at it from, our community's perspective. Affordability has more for me to do with economic opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. And you could build a house down the street, but if my cousin doesn't have a job and can't, find work, that doesn't help. And for us, gainful employment and economic opportunity has always been sort of that first marker. The affordability tends to help other communities before it helps us.
Well, I don't know, and it looks like we're trending towards a great white hope again coming into this next election cycle. I'm less interested in folks who, they tout Newsom being able to troll Trump, but I'm more interested in action. How can people? This time goes by fast, Ed. I got a laundry list more of things to go over, but I'm definitely not going to get to them. How can people get in touch with you? See you next. Where are you at?
Yeah, we're still at you know what? When Dominique gets back, we're still on our annual project here of getting me off X, and it's funny. We've been joking about it for a year, but I thought I got to come sit down and she's going to show me how to get off of X. But I'm at Edward.
It's called X, uninstall, Ed.
My daughter, who's waking up, is looking over at me, and she just called me a boomer, and so I'll take that and go with it. Ooh. But I think, that one hurt.
Boomer. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Well, hey, brother, I ain't booming, but I am in the 1900s. Give them your contact, Ed, in case they want to reach out to you.
Yeah, indeed. It's at Edward M. Sanders at Twitter or at X, I guess. And I'll put something up because this, I got to send a shout out to the Howard men's basketball team who made the tournament. They fell yesterday to Michigan, but looking forward to the Lady Bison who play tomorrow against Ohio State. First time in years where both squads have made the tournament, and excited about that as a Howard alum.
First pitch is coming up, Dodgers, in a little under 2 weeks now. Any prediction to see a three-peat?
Sounds like Lakers going to do well in the playoffs too.
Well, we'll see about that, brother. It's still a lot more season. You see the Dodgers running it again?
They're obviously in the conversation. They got the loaded roster, so yes, I think is the answer. We got the best 3 or 4 of the best players for sure.
I appreciate you, Ed, as always. And if you got any, start a crowdfund for me so I can get my World Cup tickets. That's Ed Sanders. I'm James Farr, sitting in for Dominique DePrima. Freedman Friday is up next. We're going to reprise the episode with Dominique DePrima, only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got you black.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. California and 23 other states are suing the EPA for rolling back a key finding that greenhouse gases endanger public health. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
This isn't a small technical change. It's a sweeping decision that would increase pollution, worsen climate change, and put the health of millions of Americans at risk.
He says the move ignores scientific consensus and could weaken limits on emissions from cars and power plants. The Pentagon may keep National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. through 2029. ABC News reports the plan is finalized and awaiting approval from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. D.C. leaders are suing to end the deployment. A new addition is now leading the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame fan vote, bumping Phil Collins from the top spot. The Hall will announce this year's class of inductees in April. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Hard Rock Casino Tejon for the $500,000 Luck of the Irish BMW drawing. Drawings every Thursday in March. Hard Rock Casino Tejon, the closest casino to downtown LA. The excitement starts here at the new Hard Rock Casino Tejon.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers win again, and Luka Doncic goes off again. Thursday night in Miami, the Lakers won their season-high 8th straight game. They beat Miami 134-126. 60 points for Doncic. He also had 5 steals. In the Lakers' last 2 games, Doncic has scored 100 points. LeBron had a triple-double with 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. In LeBron's last 2 games, he is shooting 80.7% from the floor. The Lakers are 11-1 in their last 12. Things are not going well for the Clippers. They lost to New Orleans Thursday night, 105-99. 4 straight loss for the Clippers. Congratulations to the Southern University women's basketball team. The HBCU team beat Sanford Thursday 65-53 in the play-in round of the NCAA tournament. Southern advances to the field of 64. Their first round game is Saturday against number 1 seed South Carolina. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave the building.
It's a total takeover.
That's what I want.
On Friday, March 27th, KBLA Talk 1580 belongs to the women.
Are you ready?
All day long, from 6 in the morning to midnight, the mic belongs to powerful, accomplished women, and we are not letting go. Nothing but the voices of women who inspire, challenge, and move us forward. It's the women of KBLA Talk 1580, sun up to sundown. I'm Dominique DePrima, and I'll anchor the day with a 3-hour live panel from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the state of black women in LA, followed by women talking to women all day long about the issues that matter most. Our hosts for the day include Jill Monroe, Adrian Shropshire, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Angela Reddick Wright, Raquel Graham, Angelique Francis, Tasha Thomas, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, Dion Raymond, and featuring special guest hosts Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals. This is Women's History Month, and we're not just celebrating it, we're amplifying it. Join us Friday, March 27th on KBLA Talk 1580, where women take over all day, all night. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 and all of our socials for the rundown. You don't want to miss a single word. And happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
To my ladies,
I'll show you know how to work that.
You are the bomb.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So, who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So, what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utility's failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, Reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits. And your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
KBLA Talk 1580. It is Freedman Friday time, and we have not located our guest yet. We still have a lot to talk about. We can take a look at what's going on in San Francisco and around the country, and it is amazing. We can also talk about the statement, or I don't know what you want to call it, proclamation, the policy position statement of our president yesterday when it comes to reparations. The president pulled out of 66 different international organizations this week, UN organizations, and among the things he was loudest about is his hatred, I'll put it that way, because that's pretty much how it is, of what he called a global reparations agenda. He calls it racist. He did this via executive order on Wednesday, pulling the United States out of a coalition that the State Department says has been pushing for what they call unconstitutional and racist policies, including global reparations. The UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, he claims they promote racial grievances and victim-based social policies within the world's governing body that are, he claims, counter to the 14th Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause. And this is, 101, MAGA 101, their playbook, which is to take affirmative action, DEI, even scholarship and angel investor programs that seek to help black people, and labeling them as racist or labeling them as reverse discrimination. That is the only thing that his Justice Department Civil Rights wing is working on at the moment, are things that discriminate against white people. And it is in lockstep with the philosophies of Elon Musk. They're saying that white South Africans are being discriminated against. I read a post yesterday from Musk where he claims that there are more laws discriminating against white people in South Africa now than there were during apartheid, which is completely ridiculous. In apartheid, Black people were not even allowed to travel freely. They weren't allowed to live in certain areas. They were not allowed to own things. It was basically Jim Crow on steroids. And that is, the remnants of that are still in place in South Africa. The white people own everything. They control everything except the government. And they own all of the land. How did they get it? They stole it during apartheid and before that, right? And there was never any accountability. There was never any redistribution of wealth or land. And so that assertion is ridiculous. But it's the same mentality that Donald Trump is asserting on the world stage when he pulls out of these UN bodies, particularly blasting reparations as something that is victim-based. Well, yeah, because guess what? We were victims of enslavement, of Jim Crow, of racially based eminent domain, of property seizure, of property destruction with no restitution, no recoupment. So, of course, that's just very similar to something like the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, for which the United States has gladly paid reparations and continues to do so. But yet, when it comes to black people, it is racist, according to this administration. So it's clear, if it wasn't clear before, and I'm saying this because I've had, over the course of 2 years that we've been doing Freedman Friday, and this is a sad day because I believe it's the first time we've had someone fully not available. We've had someone, not make it to our Freedman Friday discussion. But I've had many conversations over these 2 years that we've been doing this every Friday with rightward-leaning or MAGA-leaning reparationists who felt that President Donald